Hello and welcome to this video all about planting daffodil bulbs to naturalize in grass. So I have 200 beautifully scented white daffodils that will flower in April, and today I want to plant them in an area of my lawn. So if you want to learn how to choose daffodil bulbs for naturalization, how to find the best position for them in your garden and how to plant them, then stay tuned. Hello, I'm Rachel from Douentza Garden in Ireland, and today I'm planting daffodils in a lawn for naturalization. Now, daffodils are the perfect plant for this. They're completely hardy, anywhere from US hardiness zone 4 to 9. I'm in what equates to as zone 9 here in Ireland. And there are ones that can be planted in long grass, like the one I've selected here today, and short grass. Now you can check out the RHS website, link in the description below, if you want to get a list of which kind is best for which type of grass. My daffodil of choice is Narcissus poeticus actea. It has single fragrant white flowers that are produced with flattened bowl-shaped trumpets of yellow, edged in red. It's 45 centimetres tall, that's about 18 inches, and it has won the RHS Award of Garden Merit. This daffodil blooms later in the season in April, and that's one of the reasons why I've chosen it. I want my daffodil lawn in bloom when the garden is coming into flower, and not when it's still asleep. The earliest daff I have here at Douentza is one that usually blooms in December. It's called Reinfeldt's Early Sensation, and it's also naturalized in grass. I chose it because I wanted a daff that would flower early, because I wanted to be able to mow the grass it was on early. But I'll talk a bit more about this consideration later on in the video. This time round, I wanted a daff that flowers and looks fabulous later, and I've chosen an area for it where the long grass will be acceptable into June. My bulbs today come from the Dutch company bulby.nl or bulby.uk. They have two sites, one for shipping within the EU and one for shipping within the UK. You can find the links in the video description below. Bulby is my shop of choice for a couple of reasons. They have a great selection, lovely healthy bulbs and excellent customer service. But that's not all. If you're buying any number of bulbs, you'll find that Bulby has the cheapest prices around. I like to buy my bulbs in the hundreds, and I'm always pleased with how favourably the prices at Bulby compare to other sites. And if you too would like to try Bulby, I'm pleased today to be able to offer you a 10% discount with the code Douentza10, which is valid on both the EU and UK sites until the 1st of December. Daffodils are best planted in September, and the reason for this is that it allows their roots to begin to grow and establish before the freeze starts. But in reality, you can probably plant daffodils any time from September to December. They're quite unfussy about position as well. They like full sun, they like partial shade, and they prefer a soil that's moist but well draining. Now, when I say prefer, they are quite unfussy about the soil really, and you can get away with a variety of soils, providing that they're not actually sitting in wet, in water. If you have heavy clay soil, then it might be an idea to add a handful of grit to the base of each hole. And most daffodils can be naturalized in grass. When choosing where to naturalize your daffodils, there are a couple of things to bear in mind. Firstly, the daffodils will of course look amazing when in bloom, but after the flowers fade, the green foliage will need to be left uncut for a minimum of 6 weeks. This means you'll have an area of long, messy grass for 6 weeks. If this is a problem, choose an area for your daffodils tucked a bit out of sight or in a wilder area of the garden. With this in mind, the area I've chosen for the daffs is between a privet hedge and the greenhouse. It's an area where I don't mind having a stretch of long grass in summer. To ensure your daffs look their best, bear in mind that plants will tend to turn towards the light. You'll want those beautiful golden faces to look towards the garden. With this in mind, my daffs have their backs to the north, with a privet hedge behind them and their faces to the south. There's a greenhouse between them and the south, but it's transparent, so it shouldn't block too much light. And the daffodils should face towards the greenhouse, which is just perfect. Finally, daffodils look fantastic if planted on a slope and viewed from below. So if you have a suitable slope, then consider using it. Right, so here we go. And the first thing I'll do is place my 200 daffodil bulbs in the positions where I want them to grow. I don't want this to look too regimented, so I'm sprinkling my daffs in handfuls on the grass. I'm favouring the lower half of this area as it's the most seen. But before planting, I'll just check any bulbs that have landed too closely beside their neighbour, ensuring there's about 10 centimetres or 4 inches between the closest bulbs. Overcrowding will reduce flowering. That was the easy bit. The hard bit now is to dig the holes, and thankfully I have some great help today. So I want you to meet.
Hi everyone, I'm Morris.
Yeah, and Morris is from, where are you from, Morris?
I'm from Italy.
I thought you were from Florida.
No, from Italy, North Italy.
Okay, all right, and Morris is going to help me today in digging the holes.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to use an auger because it should be easier. This is a particularly tough area, isn't it? With lots of roots and lots of stones, but we're going to do our best. So let's get on with it.
Okay, I'm ready.
If you choose a spot for your daffodils in a regular lawn, you may not need an auger. You could use a bulb planter or a trowel. And if you do use an auger, you'll not encounter the resistance we're meeting in this stony, root-filled site. Daffodils should be planted at a minimum of 6 inches, but preferably, like most bulbs, at 3 times their height. This is how this would look on my auger. On my stony bank, it's impossible to get the bulbs in that deeply. I'm encouraged, however, by the fact that daffs have contractile roots. This means that in a year or so, they will actually pull themselves deeper under the ground. The trick is to keep them sufficiently hydrated until they can do that, because shallow planted daffs are prone to drying out. Plant daffs with the pointy side up. However, if you plant them sideways, they will right themselves over time. So I'd suggest that if you can't plant your daffs as deeply as you should, don't worry too much. It will probably be all right. I'm just doing it with the hori-hori here, and I think that in some ways it's easier because you can get around the roots as you go in and kind of, there we go, make a hole kind of insidiously around rather than going head on trying to break through a root or a stone. So that's my take on it anyway. However, I'm not going to do 200 this way, that's for sure. And whatever about planting them 3 times the height, do you know what? 2, 1, it'll be enough. So good morning and welcome to day 2 of my planting daffodil bulbs epic. And what can I say? I have chosen the wrong position to put these daffodils into. I've chosen a very stony, a very rooty site. My best advice to you, if you're embarking on a project like this, is to test the ground beforehand, especially if where you want to plant is near to trees or that you know you have stony soil. This should not be so difficult, but it is. Now, of course, at some stage yesterday, fairly early on, it did occur to me that maybe I should reconsider where I'm putting my daffodil bulbs, because my garden is stony, but it would not be anything like this bad elsewhere. However, I do really want to have a bank of these daffodils here. And I do know that daffodils are a very robust plant, and I feel that even though I'm not planting the bulbs at 3 times their depth, if I just get them into the ground and get them covered, I feel that they can go on to do great things and just naturalize like they're supposed to do. Anyway, I made the decision not to quit, to continue on and to plant these bulbs in. It's just in all honesty, I'm really not looking forward to it. Another day of like hand blisters, etc. But there are lots of things we have to do that we don't like for the beauty and well-being of our gardens. So I guess it's just time to button up and get on with it.
This is good.
It's actually a decent sized hole. And here we are, a few long hours later. I wanted to say short hours, but it was a big job and it did take a long time. But now all of the 200 daffodils are planted here on this bank, so expect a fantastic display in April. I want to give a great big thanks to Morris, who did a whole load of this work, and also to Bulby. And if you are interested in getting some daffodil bulbs for yourself, then do check out their website. Links in the detail below, and don't forget the 10% discount you can get with the code Douentza10. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!